What we're discussing is trading lives for a point. That is what we're discussing.
No.
We're trading,
no.
what you're discussing is a trade of lives to make a point against the Democrats. And
No. I'm saying don't trust them. I'm just saying don't trust them.
Wait, saying don't trust them is different than saying I'm happy that Trump won. That's very different.
All right. There we go. No, background light, maybe, I don't know. It's fine. Can you hear me?
My mic was muted. Is it bright in there?
Yeah, let me see if I can do something.
No, it was more about his sunglasses. I don't know why he's wearing sunglasses indoors, but okay.
Better.
He's dressed in the whole shebang. Dude, I need to come here in like full Azov gear or something next time. Be like, I'm part of right I have joined. This is fine. This don't worry
better, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's fine. It's
all right.
I mean, it does look like you're kind of glowing in the back, but it's fine. You're coming back. You're coming from heaven. You know, you're descending like an angel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on today's stream. You emailed me about coming on to talk about why you're happy that Donald Trump won. So yeah, why are you happy?
No, we're
Trump
not
won?
happy. Okay. Well, to begin with.
Wait. When you say you're not happy, can I read? The email was titled. Let me specifically just read because maybe I'm misleading here, but the title of the email that you sent or your person sent on your behalf is "We are happy that the Trumpanese won," which I would
Trumpanzees.
Trumpanzees won. So, okay, that's just what I thought.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me clarify what that means. So that means that we are glad that all the hypocrisy of the Democrats and at least now everything is in the open. So that's what we mean by we are happy as Palestinian supporters. We are happy that at least all the lies and the bullshit is over with, and the American government and the American empire can tell us how it really feels about Muslims, Arabs, and etc. Instead of all the same old lies, deceit, facades of saying one thing with half-heartedly or just straight up lies, and then just supplying Israel for what it needs to be done. And that's it. We were tired of the hypocrisy, and we are happy at least everything is full frontal right now with the Trump administration. It's at least it's open hatred, I would say. So instead of like the half-hearted bullshit that the Democrats were running.
So the Democrat Biden administration continued to send weapons to Israel.
Yeah. Can you make a dual screen? I can't see you. Hold up.
My camera's on.
I know, but I can't see you though. Look at just dual screen. I don't know. Hold up. There we go.
Can you see me?
Yeah. It's good.
So the Biden administration continued to send weapons to Israel. There were threats of cutting off those weapons, but none of them were ever delivered upon. The last threat was the idea that they had 30 days, and then after the election, they would cut off those weapons, which was now ran back upon, probably in large part because they lost the election and it would do nothing anyway. But the Biden administration certainly has not held off the tap. They've tried to divert aid into Gaza, but when the Israeli government blocks that aid, there'll be this talk about, working together to try to get more aid in. Aid will increase for a little bit, and then it'll go down again, and it'll increase a little bit, and then it'll go down again. And I think as a Palestinian supporter, it makes sense why I'd be frustrated with the Biden administration. It's a different issue. As a Ukraine supporter, I'm frustrated with the Biden administration too when it comes to half-hearted responses on this or that issue when it comes to Ukraine. But I also acknowledge that a Donald Trump administration on both issues, but certainly on Palestine, is just going to be worse on every level. The person they've picked to be ambassador, Mike Huckabee, he is religiously devoted to the state of Israel to the point where he does not believe there is a Palestine. He just calls it Judea and Samaria. He believes that the land should basically just be annexed and given to Israel. The majority of Donald Trump's cadres, their main critiques of the war has been Israel's been too nice. They haven't been bombing hard enough. They need to bomb harder. Donald Trump's old style of talking that he hasn't really ever evolved away from was, in order to fight a war, you have to take out their families. You need to kill their families. And so it wouldn't be that surprising if on the first few days of the Trump administration, we saw a surge of military aid to Israel, permission to go carte blanche, and the cutting off of aid that Trump doesn't really like in the first place. And so I don't see how exposing of hypocrisy or shortcomings of the Democratic Party is worth the people that will die.
I mean, all the people that have already died. I mean, like,
It can always get worse. It can always get worse.
It can always get worse, but at least right now, people know that America is not an ally in this fight. America is not a partner for peace. At least they will suffer the bullshit.
People think that before?
Well, yeah, of course. Like with the facade and everything like that, international communities, liberals that are not that bright would think that as well. That they just want to do something, but just like. I don't know, like basically like all the nonsense the excuses, all the nonsense excuses they be given up to people that, we try to do something, both side this, both side that. But like, as we've seen, 40,000 dead, nothing happened. All the vetoes of ceasefire resolutions, basically all the same nonsense. Hell, I mean, even Richie Torres. I mean, let's give out like what some of the Democrats, for example. Okay,
he
one of
follows
the
me
guys.
On Twitter, by the way.
Huh? Oh yeah.
Must be a long-time viewer of the stream.
Oh, that's pretty nice. Anyway, okay, so he's an AIPAC guy and a Zionist. And he said, this is one of the most embarrassing and most ridiculous from any sides I've heard. Like, not just about Israel. They said Israelis just want to be free, just like Martin Luther King wants to be free. And so I don't know. Like, did Martin Luther King kill about 10K kids? I don't remember that. Like, just like this. So this is what he said. This is a Democrat.
Yeah, it's a silly statement. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's John Fetterman. Another lunatic, and there's another guy as well, actually even more lunatic than all of them. I think he was an Obama aide back in the day, like before the Near East division, and he basically went to a kebab guy in New York City and like threatened to sick the Egyptian Muhabarat, which is the intelligence agency, against him, and to have him like his nails pulled out. Always bothering some kebab guy in New York City. This guy is not even like some terrorist. This guy's not even a pro-Palestinian protester. Just some Arab guy, giving feeding kebab to the city of New York. And this guy's going out there like probably drunk, I would say, so early in the morning, just harassing the guy and like saying all sorts of racist, all sorts of anti-Arab stuff to him. And this is Obama. So these are the Democrats, So, at least right now it's open. And there's also your friend, actually, I forgot, Stephen Bolatelli.
Congressman Stephen Bunnell, yeah.
No, he's not a congressman, but he's...
So why are we talking about him?
Because he's on the left side as well, and he's in the Democrat side.
You're right. To prove Destiny's a hypocrite, we need to get Trump elected to bomb the Palestinians harder. I didn't think about that.
I'm not saying that.
I didn't think about that. That's a good idea. You should really get that to the people before somebody else steals it from you.
No, I'm not saying that, it's the hypocrisy we've seen. It's like, why should we elect the Democrat Party? Because they're just facade. They just lie to us. They're just facade.
Don't vote for Destiny, okay? Don't vote Destiny. Okay, that's the first thing. Vote. You should have voted Harris if you didn't know. As for these Democrats, every single one that you've just named, that is either the standard or I would say goes further on the other side of the aisle. There's nobody in the Republican Party that is less hawkish on the issue than Richie Torres or John Fetterman. You can't point me to a senator or anybody of influence within the Republican Party that has that power. You can't. When you look at the other side of the aisle, like Chuck Schumer, who is the most powerful Jewish politician in the United States and the leader of the Senate Democrats, this is somebody who's openly criticized the Netanyahu regime and has talked about cutting off weapons to Israel. That doesn't mean the party has moved forward on it. Doesn't mean that the party has done enough on it. But when you talk about incentives, when you talk about what these parties want to do, when you talk about these different standards, it is different. And to say the difference does not matter, or to say that the difference does not matter enough that proving the hypocrisy is good for getting, like, Trump winning is good enough because at least we get to do that, makes a point with the bodies of dead people that I am not comfortable with. I mean, like, if I was to be, I couldn't imagine, like, after Trump getting elected, my reaction being, well, at least now the world will see the error of their ways when all of the death pits show up in Kherson once they cross the river again. That wouldn't be my reaction. I'd be horrified. I'd be terrified, because even if I think that my government has failed in certain areas when it comes to supporting Ukraine, I don't want to just be able to say, haha, Jake Sullivan, I've proved you wrong. That feels very personality based than whether, like, what's the best outcome for the people on the ground.
Well, the best outcome wouldn't
like
be
why are we even talking about destiny? Like this what makes me think it's personality based.
No, it's not about person. I'm just talking about the hypocrisy of the left and the hypocrisy of, because all the, like, what I'm talking about just in general here, like, just not even just about the even more about the Palestinian issue, but but in general, the hypocrisy of the liberal party and the hypocrisy of the Democrats and the hypocrisy of the left in general in America.
People say like hypocrisy is the weakest form of critique.
Well, they can say that, but I mean, it doesn't make me want to try to have faith in you anymore.
Well, nobody's talking about having faith in the Democrats. We're just saying that this is an objectively worse outcome for the issue that you're talking about. If you have a guy going in there who says bomb the families of terrorists, that's my military policy.
But they're already doing that. They're already doing that. I mean, with I forgot the AI is called again. Is it Lavender or is it Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? I think that's the AI. Where's Daddy? So basically, they wait till the people go into their houses late at night to their families, and then they just bomb them right then and there. So that's Where's Daddy AI.
There is a massive difference, and it might be hard to identify the difference in all of the blood and carnage, but there is a difference between the deliberate targeting of men, women, and children unrelated to a conflict and a complete disregard for civilian casualties when trying to carry out military objectives. These two things can both be horrific. These two things can both be bad, but they have very different incentives and can have very different and even bloodier impacts. And I think not acknowledging that difference could lead to, again, us kind of pushing away an even worse outcome, or ignoring it as it comes right up on us.
Okay, keep that thought. I'm just going to plug in my laptop because battery's running low.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. All right. So we were saying that. Oh yeah, like it's much worse. No, but what was about to say? Oh, my voice is dying. Anyway. Oh yeah. So in America, okay, we're gonna go a little bit in not the conspiracy. It's a known conspiracy that Zionists are a big part of American government, whether it's left or right. The Near East government, the Near East Department of the State Department, has been run by Zionists, even though the Israel is just one part of the just a small little country in the Middle East. It's not even the majority. So basically, everything's run by Zionists. So what I'm trying to say is that the Americans, like the Democrat Party, they put down the facade. They try to make it everything nice to cover the crimes. That's my problem. So they cover the crimes. So their job is not to alleviate the damage. Their job is to cover the crimes, to make it look nice, so the crimes keep continuing. So that's my point for it. So at least right now, like the murderer will say, listen, I'm here to kill you. So it's good. So before with the Democratic Party, it was I don't know, a very smooth talker, serial killer like Patrick Bateman maybe. Now we just have I don't know,
The
some
Democratic
Jason
Party is
Voorhees.
like Patrick Bateman. That's going to make a lot
Yes.
of edit people very angry.
Going like in the Middle East section wise, Middle East wise, like they just wine and dine you, and like they take out the girl, and then he'll stab her in the back. He'll tell her flowery stories. Oh, you're so beautiful, blah blah blah, blah, and then you're going to stab her in the back. So at least this guy, he's coming at you with a butcher knife to begin with a machete, and he sees him across the street like Jason Voorhees. He's like, oh, I have to run. So basically, that's the difference.
The Democratic Party is made up of a bunch of different interest groups, and the way that the Democrats try to win elections is by getting all these different interest groups, like teachers' unions, a bunch of different unions, different organizations purporting to represent Black and Latino communities, not necessarily representing those communities, but purporting to represent those communities, some sections of those communities, usually part of like HBUC, like HBCU, intelligentsia, etc. And they get all these different coalitions together, including the pro-Israel coalitions. And if they build up enough, then they'll be able to cross over the line and win an election. And because of that, because that pro-Israel faction has been part of the Democratic Party, and they've been winning Jewish votes in such high proportions for year on year on year, they were very angry to anger the Israeli government when it comes to a matter of policy. Plus, it has been kind of Israeli treatment towards Palestinians, I do think, has been normalized over the years as well, which has made it easier. Now, the only anti-occupation voices in the entire country, though, that could get anywhere near power is within the Democratic Party. There is no anti-Israeli occupation forces within the Republican Party. They do not exist. And now,
well, look, they censored. What's it, Rashida Tlaib and what's her name, Ilhan Omar. They censored both of them.
So you now wait. Are they? What party are they part of?
Democratic.
Okay, why haven't they switched to Republican? Because of all the hypocrisy.
I'm not pro-Republican.
Okay, yeah, but do you understand? You got to understand. This is America. This isn't the UK. This isn't Germany. This isn't. We don't believe in all these piffy hippie third parties. Okay, we have two parties. You're either a Democrat, Republican, or you're somebody that gets called by the pollsters every year is begging for your opinion as an independent voter. Right? You're one of these three things. You can't be anything else, really. If you are, you're wasting your time. That's my view. People can disagree with it. I don't think the Green Party, Jill Stein, or any of these people are going to ever do anything besides take votes from other people. So, from my view, if you are pro-Palestine, you want to build up your people in institutions to a point where they can't do that anymore. And considering that only on the Democratic Party side are there people like Chris Van Hollen, who's a senator from my state, the great state of Maryland, or Chuck Schumer, or others who have talked about cutting off weapons to Israel openly and blatantly, you cannot get that on the other side of the party. You cannot. Chris Van Hollen has not been censored. Chuck Schumer couldn't be censored even if they wanted to censor him when he said that. And they have talked about either limiting weapons or cutting off weapons. They have not gone through with cutting off weapons. They have, in some instances, gone through with limiting weapons. They have pressured the Israeli government to get aid into Gaza. Not enough, but to an extent that it has had temporary increases in aid that has likely saved lives. Now, this government between Biden and Netanyahu, they hate each other. Biden has been open, well, not open, in private. He called him like a bastard. He does all this. Now, has he gone far enough in policy implementation? No. But when you compare that, this coalition building leading to them being kind of constrained to a faction that they know, or at least believe, that they need electorally, and when it comes to fundraising, because there is big money when it comes to all these different interest groups, not just the Zionists. I object to the idea that Zionists run the State Department. Zionists in the idea that they believe Israel should exist.
The Near East.
Or
the Near East, which is the biggest, which matters when it comes to the Middle East, because the Near East Department is all run by Israelis and Zionists. So, for example,
when you say Zionists, what do you mean by they believe that the West Bank should be annexed, or do you believe, or is it like Zionists in the idea that Israel as an entity should exist? Because if that's your standard for what makes Zionist, then basically all of America is Zionist.
Well, okay, fine, but whatever it is, though, the Near
okay,
East
but then to be clear, You could have AOC in there, she would be a Zionist. You could have Rashida Tlaib in there, she would be the Zionist. You could have AOC in there, she would be a Zionist by the standard.
No, Rashida Tlaib like is not a Zionist.
She believes that Tel Aviv should be conquered and like thrown into the what is she?
No,
said
nobody
said
like no. You don't have to be. You don't have to be a like what? That's not like the prerequisite for a Zionist. The Zionist I'm talking about are gun ho people. Like I'm not just saying about like Israel right.
I never heard that definition before. The Zionists are the gun ho. Okay, got you. Is that in the is that in Webster's?
You know what I'm trying to say? The Zionists are the fundamental ones. Either way,
okay.
Though,
say like hardcore Zionists or something, because the standard you just said for Zionists was like they believe Israel should exist. Okay, yeah, and all Americans are basically Zionists, except for a small subset of like college protesters.
Either ways, though, if you have the Near East Department, basically the department that that governs the whole Middle East, that does the policies for the whole Middle East, I would hope so. You would have Muslims there. I would hope so because they're the majority. I would hope so. You have a lot of Arabs in there. I would hope so. You have a lot of who else? I don't know. Like there's Arabs, Persians, Turks. Which make up the most majorities, and some Arab Christians or whatever. Not, I wouldn't think that you would put an Israeli people all over, like you fill it up with all of Israelis and Zionists that are Americans either. So it's just
wait.
Just
but by definition, it's always going to be filled with Israelis and Zionists, because by the standard we were talking about with Zionists, again, every American's a Zionist, unless you believe we're going to have to get a more specific definition of Zionists than just like they believe Israel should exist, because you could put Muslims in there, they're going to be Zionists too.
No, come on. No, like they're not gonna be Zionists. I would say.
I mean, there's Muslim Zionists, yes.
Well, look, there's a.
Actually, I believe by the standard, every single Muslim in Congress is a Zionist.
If you're saying like Israel has the right to exist, that doesn't make you a Zionist. Okay, like that's not that's the bare minimum Zionist. Okay, we're talking about
Zionist, you just said that is a Zionist. You just said it's the bare minimum Zionist, so it is Zionist.
Okay, we're not talking about bare minimum Zionist. So, like first of all, that's not even like that's basically saying I'm a Zionist, but I'm not a Zionist. So like
wait. Do you believe Israel has a right to exist?
Well, it is right now. So I'm just saying I'm not talking about like
that's not an answer. Do they have a right to exist? Like at this point, like.
At this point, yes. Like I mean, there's nothing like but am I happy about it? No, but that doesn't make me a Zionist, though. But
why not?
That doesn't make me a Zionist. But I'm talking about like those people that are.
Why aren't you a Zionist?
Oh come on! Like let's not. I'm not a Zionist. That just. I don't read the Talmud. I don't know anything about their philosophy.
Do you think the Republicans are like, oh, I need to go study my Talmud to get my Zionist theory?
Some of them have.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them, but not most of them. Most of them are just like, yeah, sure, Israel, blow them up. We're the same guys we hate.
No, but like, the people that have the colonial mindset, people that have the these are the rightful owners. These are the indigenous people. These are the our Western brothers. Peter Hegseth, like that says, there is no.
Shadow Wolf thinks it's your
yeah.
By the way, he's now going to be defense secretary. Pete Hegseth, that type of guy is who's now going to be enabled and given power by a Trump victory over Harris. Like it's Mike Huckabee is going to be empowered. Somebody who thinks that what was his statement on settlements? There are no settlements. They're communities. There is no West Bank or Palestine. There is only a Judea and Samaria. That's going to be America's official ambassador to Palestine, to Israel. So for me, I feel like this is I still think this is very personality based.
No,
I also think you have very personality based politics, you personally. But because what it becomes is how many dead kids is worth making your point. That's the core of it.
No, I'm talking about, look, they're already killing dead kids. We protested.
Okay, 10 dead kids, 12 dead kids. Which one would you rather have? 12 means you get to prove someone's a hypocrite.
No, it's not about me proving a hypocrite. It's just means I don't trust you anymore. It just means I have lost faith in you anymore.
You're not supposed to trust your government in all endeavors. You're supposed to be critical of your government. I mean, you should trust like basic like emergency response stuff, but you should have a somewhat adversarial relationship with your government to keep them in check. I'm not asking you to trust the government, but I'm also asking you to acknowledge the reality that there's Democrats and there's Republicans, and one option, the option that's about to go into power, is not better for Palestinians. It's objectively worse.
I think it's going to be just the same. Like they're going to get ethnically cleansed either one way or the other. Like but like nobody's going to stop it. So we need it. Like that's why I'm always a multipolar guy.
This next administration, the people they're picking are the people who want to lay the foundation for that. If you're saying there's no such thing as Palestine, you're saying I want that foundation. That foundation did not exist within the Biden administration. They did not want the ethnic cleansing of Palestine in the Biden administration.
That they were doing it anyways. They were doing it anyways. They were doing it anyway.
Will somebody passively being like, Israel, stop, we'll limit some of these weapons, or maybe down the road we'll do this. That, not great. The other option of ethnically cleanse them, we encourage it, it's a lot worse. That's a lot worse.
Well, like I said, I have basically given up on the American system. Actually, I've left. Actually, I've self-exiled myself. I have self-exodus from the United States and the West.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's because yeah. Well, I'm just talking about like
how can we win you back? Biden's called me and asked me to win you back for the Republic.
I know you don't want me back. That's what I'm saying. Like because of all the racism that I face, and like even after I got racially attacked and the police didn't even look into it. But so I have lost faith in the West, and I've lost faith, especially in the in your circles as well, the liberal and the leftist activist part in the West. That's why I think the global South is where it is at. When it comes to activism and etc. So we've lost faith in the West, and we've definitely lost faith in America. So that's what I'm trying to always get into your point. Like you have faith in the American establishment, and you have faith in the Democratic Party. But I would tell you though, they are just the facade of the American empire. What they say is not true. Basically, what was that before? Like they always put up like some gay guy as a winning point. Like what was that guy? Like Hadi. They put him up in the UN. They from the Syrian civil war, like the Syrian gay guy, they put him in the UN, and they was like, Hadi is a Syrian gay man, and in Syria you cannot be gay. What the fuck is that about? Who's fighting for a pro-gay Syria? None of them. The Free Syrian Army, the Syrian Democratic Forces. Nobody's doing that. So basically, they just put in these facade, these nice faces on there to propagate the war machine. These are not nice people. So that's what I'm trying to say.
But wait,
so
let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I do think gays being lynched is kind of important. As some
nobody's lynching gay people in Syria.
So shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the first thing. The second thing is there's a million reasons to depose Assad. Gay rights is pretty low on the list. Do you need some pussy?
What did you say? I didn't get that one. The last part.
I'm saying, do you have you gotten like pussy lately?
That's too personal, man. Go why?
No, because like it sounds like you just need to check out, man. You need to check out from politics. You're done. You're tired. Politics is aggressive. It's horrible. People die. Geopolitics and war and stuff. And it sounds like you need to check out because it seems like you're just giving up. It seems like your thing is like, I'm tapping out. I'll accept the worst outcome if it means I get to stick it to the man. And you think that I'm here in the Democratic Party because I'm just you cut me and I bleed blue necessary? No, I'm in the Democratic Party because out of both factions that are currently available, Democrats are more likely to pursue objectives that I care about, both when it comes to foreign policy and both when it comes to domestic policy. I disagree with them on how far we should go on healthcare. I disagree with them on how far we should go on Ukraine aid. I disagree with them when it comes to a whole host of different issues. Gun control is actually another one of them. But I understand the way reality is in the United States. I understand we're a two-party system, and I'm doing my best to operate from within the bounds I was born into. I was born into this reality, and I have to deal with this reality. What you seem to be doing is checking out of this reality and saying, at least we can prove a point about there being a hypocrite. I'll accept more dead kids if I get to prove the Democrats suck. And to me, that's very self-centered, very personality-based, and I think you need a break, man. I think you need to get some pussy.
Thank you. But no, all right. Okay, so you're working in the bounds of the system. Okay, so me, I'm saying like rebel against the system. All right. Me, I'm saying like you're.
Yeah. What does that entail, Mr. Rebel?
Okay.
Do I get cool sunglasses too?
Yeah, you probably would.
Awesome.
Anyway, so you're a white man, yeah?
As white as the snow.
Okay, okay. I thought you were Latino. I don't know, but anyway. But okay, you're a white man. So, but me as a Muslim immigrant from an immigrant family, like my needs and my views of the world are a little bit different for you. From what I'm saying, as a Muslim American, as a Muslim immigrant, that there is no what do you call it, allyship, and there's no. I feel like there's no place and there's no allyship with us or with the American government because it's filled with Zionists. They're basically the top elites of the American government, and there's no place for us. And if you want, our peace in the Middle East and peace with our people and peace, for the Muslim world, we should look somewhere else because the American government is basically the Israeli government. That's what I'm gonna have to say. Because like for what's the ambassador to Lebanon? He was a former IDF soldier. What the fuck you sending him to Lebanon for? He was probably in the Lebanese war in 2006 or in the 1980s, killing Lebanese people. And the fuck you send that guy like that asshole back to Lebanon to negotiate peace? The fuck you doing, man? It's like sending an Israeli soldier, former IDF soldier, back to Lebanon to negotiate peace. It's like the fuck you doing? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't feel that same way. And also, I feel like Malcolm X said, I think the Democrats are the fox, and they might say some sweet word, but at the end of the day, we're their prey too. They're going to bite us, and they're going to fuck us over. So that's my point. Like Malcolm X said.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, he said it more eloquently.
Yeah,
more eloquently, but I didn't say that. Yeah, but anyway.
But also, Martin Luther King accomplished so much more than Malcolm X. Malcolm X, relatively speaking, accomplished very little in comparison to those who tried to work to try to change the system, but either by working with it, pressuring it, or pushing it forward. Whether you can look at the Civil Rights Act or what was accomplished by the people who disagreed with Malcolm X tactics, I think they accomplished much, much more, and I think the historical record and the legislative record proves it. My point is not that America needs to be the biggest peacemaker in the Middle East. If the Chinese can negotiate an end to this bloodshed, good. If the Iranians can negotiate an end to this bloodshed, good. If the Saudis, if the whoever, it could be Nepal, maybe Oman. Oman's a usual historical example for the region. Any of these people could negotiate it, and I'd be comfortable with it. It's not about America taking primacy in negotiations. We need to recenter the conversation. The people who are going to be put in positions of power are, in every way imaginable, from your perspective, worse on the issue. The open calling for targeting of civilians, the denial of Palestinians even as it exists. Like, they don't really even exist. It's all just Judea and Samaria anyway. It's all historical Israeli clay. And the main critiques from within the Republican Party for the last year has been bomb them harder. And so for me, this admitted, this position of, now they'll all be honest because they all have the same position. Not only do I not think it's true that they all have the same position, if they did, then from an administration to administration, you would not see such big policy shifts on the issue of foreign policy. Not all issues of foreign policy. There is some continuation of the state. All states have a certain set of interests, but there is deviations of foreign policy. There's deviations of domestic policy. If Trump goes through with this tariff policy, that's a massive deviation with standard neoliberal economic policy.
But they're all Israelis, though. Like I said, the majority of them in the Near East are mostly Israelis. So they're dual citizens.
A lot of them. Let's be clear, though. Recenter the conversation. What we're discussing is trading lives for a point. That is what we're discussing.
No.
We're trading, what you're discussing is a trade of lives to make a point against the Democrats. And No.
I'm saying don't trust them. I'm just saying don't trust them.
Saying don't trust them is different than saying I'm happy that Trump won. That's very different.
Okay, well...
You're happy for the people who are going to be worse on the issue and probably, I mean, we don't know, it depends on how the conflict goes, could get more people killed. Being happy that they're winning is just pure spite-based politics. It's the worst of politics.
Okay, maybe I'm a little bit spiteful, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter, right? I don't fucking like the guy. I call them chimpanzees for crying out loud. Basically they're a mixture between chimps and Trump. Like that's how I see them, man. Like, how the fanatic they are. I was just talking to a conservative black-based group Trump fans and recently, and because some of them were talking like he was a cult leader and stuff like that. They were saying, "Oh, you don't understand." Like one of the women, she was saying, he might be hard on the inside, he might be a tough guy, but inside he's soft. What were you fucking him, bitch? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, how the fuck do you know how he is in the inside? But anyway, but deviating from the
Telling
point.
you, man, your mind's in that area. You need some pussy.
No, my mind is not in there. I'm focused on this. But anyway, but it's. But what I'm trying to say is, as leftists, as Muslims, don't look to the West. Man. Don't look to America, and that's what I'm saying. Rebel, move out. That's what I did. I moved out of the West, and I'm actually creating a project Exodus or Exidium in Latin. And basically, I'm helping up leftists and Muslims move out the West because most of us are not happy over there. And if you want to check that out, check out my Twitter. Is what is it like? At IPSC Solidarity, at IPSC.solidarity. Yeah, at IPSC.solidarity. And there's my website there, Radium. And you can check it out. And, basically I'm trying to raise money and, basically, create a new leftist, a new, and other, people in the West are not happy about the system. And they want to basically self-impose exile. Because what we see over there is not to our liking, and it's never going to change. And I'm tired of the flowery languages, and then doing something else at the same point. Like same too with Obama, man. Such a bullshitter, man. Like talking about hope, peace, change, a world without nuclear weapons. What was that else? We're going to shut down Guantanamo Bay. Lies upon lies upon lies, man. Like he was one of the most warhawks president ever. Like basically that's what I'm trying to say. Like so they'll fucking bomb you, man. Like it's like that fucking meme now. Like of the airplane dropping bombs and like the Muslim people are talking. Like the second woman, the second air fighter is going to be a woman. So that's basically what the Democrats. So basically you're going to have a woman. They're going to tell you, it's more diverse.
I mean, I just feel like this is all disconnected. I mean, if you want to get all the people who think like you and talk like you to leave America, I'm not going to stop you. But like the
West in general, right?
Okay. How do I say this? Biden has decreased drone strikes by a factor of 95%. 95%.
But who was the worst though? Who was the worst though? Was Obama? Was not even Trump. It was Obama, right?
Okay. What's your point about this?
He's a Democrat. That's what I'm trying to make.
Wait, what do you mean the war started under Obama? What war started?
No, I'm just saying who's the worst, what do you call it, the drone striker? Who's the worst? Who has the highest average of drone strike? It's Obama.
Maybe Obama. It's not, maybe Obama.
Yeah.
I don't know because Trump restricted all the information on drone strikes so we can't see it anymore. Which is another difference, by the way. So Trump's going to be able to do all these drone strikes, and nobody's going to be paying attention because we can't even look anymore because they restricted the information. And once he gets back in the office, that's what he's going to do again.
All right. Well, moving on.
Moving on. Who cares? Let's not talk about drone strikes in the Middle East. Let's talk about Zionists in the Pentagon for half an hour. But a 95% decrease in drone strikes, that doesn't matter at all. If Harris was to continue that, that's nothing. Let's go back up to 200% increases. Those sound like great.
He was more interested in the Ukraine war. That's why it decreased. Of course, he had to allocate.
What is that even? What? There's totally different bombs. What do you? We're not sending our Reaper drones over to Ukraine. It's the totally different weapon systems. What do you mean?
No, but
support for Ukraine stopped our drone strikes. The drone strike decrease happened the first 2 years into his presidency. That was even before the Russians invaded. You're just talking out of your ass.
There was whatever. Anyway, there was not even there was no Syrian civil war. The Yemeni one was ceasefire. So basically other things happened. All right, and then there was the Afghanistan also withdrawal. But anyway, what I want to talk about, what do you think about the 4B movement?
That's another thing. Right Afghanistan withdrawal. Isn't that a? But whatever. Let's not even. What are you moving on to now?
I support the Afghanistan withdrawal. But anyway, and I was in Afghanistan recently too. I don't know if you've seen my pictures.
I didn't.
Actually, I've got this from Afghanistan actually, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So what do you think about the 4B movement right now with Democrats and liberals losing their mind and saying they're going to hold off sex? I know you're a gay guy, so you don't care about that. But what's your point? What do you think about that?
What is me being What? Why wouldn't I be able to withhold?
No, you don't get affected by it because you don't get sex from women anyways to begin with, so that doesn't
What if
affect you.
I'm holding off from all of the beautiful men in my life for voting Trump? You don't know that.
Well, it doesn't make sense because you'll be holding for yourself. They're saying they're punishing all men for the crimes of certain men did.
Yeah, but I'm either the man or the woman in the relationship. You don't know that.
All right, cool. But what is your thought about that, though?
Gives a fuck.
Exactly. So I mean, this is also why people should not take the left or the liberals in the West seriously because they have all this ridiculous stuff and about the gender politics as well. So
What
this
is
is
it?
basically.
What is it? The liberal people shouldn't take liberals in the West seriously because some women on Twitter said they weren't going to sleep at their was going to sleep around. Who cares? Who cares? You
No,
don't think?
because
I'm sorry to tell you, if you go on Chinese social media, you're going to get some of
Mhm.
the worst mental nonsense ever. Just like you go on any country's social media, you're going to get some
Mhm.
weird people saying you need to do wild things. You go to Russia, you're going to have people who strap fake nukes on their cars saying "Nuke America and the world for Russian glory." If you go over to China, you can get people saying the craziest stuff like "We need to carpet bomb Taiwan and reclaim the." You're gonna get some crazy psychopaths in every country in the ultranationalist fringe and whatever. This to me doesn't matter, and who cares? Like when I think about liberalism, or I think about the positives that liberalism brings, I think about that's a very adorable cat in the background. I think about it's jumping around and stuff. It's very cute. I think that I think about the separation of political power from the institutions, making it so that they cannot manipulate the judicial system to go after political enemies. I think about the civil rights that it awards individuals, whether it be in America's case the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, freedom of expression, freedom of the press. These are all of the positives of liberalism and our federalized republic that I will point to and say this is from administration to administration, and while it will be attacked, these pillars have largely stood and been reinforced. And these are the positives I'm going to point to. And now we're at the level of what about all these women withholding and stuff? Who cares? If they choose to do that in a free country, they can choose to do that. In some countries, they can't refuse.
Probably so. Probably so. But no, my point is though,
Don't say
I'm
probably
disappointed
so. It was
in
a country you were at very recently.
yeah, probably. But my point is that I'm disappointed in the leftist activism, in the leftist sphere, or a liberal sphere, or in the left. I think the liberals are like me.
Mm-hmm.
Liberals actually are in the center, or probably the right. Actually, I would say so. That's why we should put them. But we put them in the left and in the west. But I think they should be in the right though. But
In comparison
my
to what?
problem.
In comparison to what globally?
Globally, liberals are part of the aristocracy. I would say so. Back in the day, when the industrial age happened, and they're supposed to be part of the aristocracy and the upper class and the cosmopolitan class, and they enjoyed all the fruits of the empire. So I would say they should be mostly on the right. Maybe
What is?
they're.
I mean, there are Marxists that have enjoyed the Frederick Engels enjoyed whatever. I don't want to. Liberals, I think, are centrist. They're centrist, generally speaking. Maybe center left. Some could be center right, but they're generally They're generally non-extremist. But when it comes to not necessarily, but generally non-extremist. Um, I mean, I don't know if I would call them, because when people say, "Oh, I hear this stuff all the time. Democrats in America would be right wing in the rest of the world." That's not true. That might be true in Europe, but you go to Africa, no, that's not the case. You go to many places in Latin America, no, that's not the place. You go to many places
We're talking
in
about
Asia,
the West in
no,
general.
that's not the case. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the thing is, it's crazy because on one hand, condemn the West is terrible, the West is awful. Many of the critiques you have, even though we don't see eye to eye on many issues, I'd probably agree with begrudgingly. But then you judge them by the standards of what? The West. You don't judge them by the standards of countries outside of the West. You judge them by the moral standards of countries that have standards that, we can appeal to, like the First Amendment, like freedom of the press, things we care about that the Russians and the Chinese don't care about. The leaders of your multipolar world order. The countries that you want to get us to go to.
Did not say move to Russia. Did I say move to Russia?
No, wait. Why'd you
Or
only say
China.
Russia? China. Okay, so where should people move?
Did I say it? The world is big, man. The world is big. The world, and if you move out of there, you would have less scrutiny of. I mean, life is cheaper, probably number one. Number two, you would have less scrutiny of. Of the
What's that?
CIA.
What's that lead? Life is cheaper.
Like you can own a house. You can have like what do
Oh
you call it? You
God.
can
Okay, sorry. I was
yeah.
okay. Continue.
I'm not saying life is cheaper, like people would kill you, something like that. Like life is cheaper in that kind of sense. No, I'm saying you can have you can be a working class and have a house and kids and raise kids like that. In America, that's impossible right now nowadays. I mean, like in UK, that's impossible too. You can't be a working class. You're like people look at you like a loser, like working
You
class.
could just. I mean, it depends on where you are. If you're in like West Virginia or certain areas like Montana, like there's places here you can get like yeah. But I think if there's places you can go that are cheaper, it's the big cities that they need to like liberalize the housing policies and build more homes. They need to build more homes. They need to increase access.
Yeah, but I'm not holding my breath on that either. But we're going more and more capitalist. But oh yeah, so my point is like as leftist activists, or we need.
Wait, is that the only reason? Is because it's cheaper in the other countries? Because you can go to Poland. You can move to Poland. You can move to like Romania if you want, I guess. They can still be in what
like
is
the CIA and the other intelligence agency won't bother you either, and like they won't what do you call it put a wrench in your movement.
What are you talking? What kind of on the day to day? Like who cares? Like I'm sorry, you're trying to make an appeal for people to come, and you're like it's cheaper over there, and the CIA isn't going to arrest you. These are not problems that people have. Like the cost of living, yes, but the CIA, I don't.
If you want to be political, if you want to do a political movement, if you want to say like, if you want to proceed with your like, if you're leftist political activism, and outside of the West, it's much better because the
what
CIA,
type
the
of
FBI,
activism?
whatever. Peaceful activism. Peaceful, like there varies. Like I'm not going to go into it, but like if you want to go into your political activism, if you want to speak your mind and do other stuff, it's better to do that because number one, they want to infiltrate your group. They probably can, but it could be much more harder for them. But that's what I'm trying to say, though. And you would have a.
But how are you going to build up support for these? Because the reason that would matter these groups is because they're in the United States, and the country with so much wealth, power, and influence. And therefore, if you change you change what the people believe, you start a movement like that in America. That there it matters. If you do this in Ecuador, right, and it's supposed to be for, okay, you're in Ecuador. What does that do for changing or challenging power structures in the United States?
No, but you try to build something new because you try to build a grassroots level and you try to build like the philosophies and etc. like somewhere else, and then maybe you can import it to the United States, maybe not, whatever. But like you would find a community better over there instead of the crazy left right now that is in America that are obsessed with genders, that are making us all look bad. They're obsessed with drag queens reading kid story hours. And making us all look like fools and ridiculous, or like we have also
how many times did Harris on the campaign trail mention drag queen story hour?
She didn't, but the whole culture of around the left, they made us look ridiculous. They made us look ridiculous for years. They make us look like a fucking ass, and then. So basically, even though she wasn't, people looked the left her at the same fucking thing. And even me, they probably look at me like that
I think that a lot of it I think the lenient identity politics over working class issues was not smart. It's not something I've ever championed around. I don't think drag queen story hour particularly matters.
Yes, it did matter.
No, it doesn't. And I think they should have a right to read those books if they want to. This is the United States of America. I just, for me, I think that a foreign ideology coming over from the United States that would have been oppositional enough to American institutions that it would be targeted by the CIA, so it had to go overseas and then be re-imported back, would come with more of a cultural ick than, say, a drag queen story hour, which wasn't endorsed by the Democratic Party but is existing as an independent institution. For me, that foreign importing would be, I think, scarier to most Americans.
Look, what is Marxism like American based? So like it's most of the socialism and like leftist heroes are American based. No, they're not. They're all foreign based. All our heroes are foreign based, and most of our heroes are foreign based.
I don't know. We have some pretty cool domestic based heroes, and plus, hey, even Marx had some American heroes. Abraham Lincoln and him were pen pals.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that one, but yeah, okay, cool. But what I try to say, though, like the philosophy is from it comes from different places, and right now as well, like I think not everything should come from the USA, right? USA comes, the best universities, like the biggest tech, Apple comes from USA. What else?
Wait, but what's gonna happen when you're trying to import your like How to Destroy America books or whatever, and then you have a 20% Trump tariff put on it, and now you can't make and then boom, your idea is foiled by Trump's 20% tariff.
I don't care. Like, it's not about America. It's not about America. It's not about America. It's about our philosophy. It's about our soul. It's about finding your community somewhere else. Like, because like after the fall of communism, after the fall of the Soviet Union, we need to regroup and think about something new instead of fucking talking about he, him, they, them, and other like I don't even know what other nonsense like the left is talking about right nowadays, or 4B movement as well. That's also nonsense. Like throw that outside the window as well. And the fourth generation
none of this matters. I feel like you're getting kind of you're narrowing it. You're like hyper focusing on the stuff. The Harris campaign was focused on policy wonkery, Biden like infrastructure investments and factory investments. It was focused on trying to polish his achievement. Very little was based in identity. She was like, I got a Glock. She was trying to lean in the other direction. I feel like the problem that I would have with what you're talking about is the academic language being hoisted down onto working class people who do not appreciate it, and then this language being brought out to represent the left broadly in like podcast space or online or in academic institutions, when you need to talk to people where they are and in a language that they understand.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Though. We need to change that academic level, the philosophy as well. We need new philosophy. We need new academics, and that doesn't come from would compromise universities. We're probably CIA run, and like not CIA run, but like the CIA does recruit from universities, and they do have their offices in universities, and they do give people.
Man, it's crazy that the CIA is in there, and these campuses are the biggest locations for pro-Palestine protest movements in the entire United States.
They couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop. But the CIA does have offices in the universities, and they do.
Well, yeah, because they recruit. Of course, they do, because the CIA is a job that people can go and be recruited to, because it's an employment opportunity. Yes.
Look, but it's a secret office, so nobody even knows about it, and they come out secretly. And number two as well, like number three actually.
Well, yeah, because it's the CIA. They're a secretive organization. They're not exactly like, hello, hiring. Spies over here. It's like, yeah, they're pretty secret about it.
But why does the university allow that, though? Why does the university allow that? Number two.
Why? Because it's like any reason they let anybody like hire at their institution. Oh my God, the most powerful intelligence organization on the planet was to hire from my university? Of course.
Mm-hmm. And why do they give covers as well for the CIA agents as well? They give covers for them to go overseas as students. For this department and whatnot, learning this like even though they're doing spy work. So that's another bullshit. I don't even like the university as well doing that as well. That's in it.
I've never been recruited by the CIA. I don't know how it works, honestly.
I'm pretty sure you've come in contact with them anyways while you were in Ukraine, but
really,
but, I'm not even go there.
How did that work?
I don't know how did I'm asking you like you haven't contacted. You probably don't even.
It's mostly by carrier pigeon actually. And smoke signals.
All right, but what do I say? You're diverting me. I'm disappointed in our activism. I'm disappointed in our philosophy. It's not even about the Harris campaign. It's just about us in general. I'm disappointed in the streamer. You were talking about recently about about leftist streamers and how we have let people down, like Joe Rogan and whoever else, like they're so cool, and that's why people are on the right and etc. like that. And I'm sick of all the streamers and the leftist activism we have, because that's why we're not cool either, and people don't listen to us either. number one, because we put off men. We're off-putting men, especially cis men, because we call them cis. And like I was talking about before, like the black lady, she was talking about Trump, like, oh, he's so hard on the inside because he's in politics, but he's soft in the inside. He has a good heart, like that kind of. Like that's why they talk about men. When our leftist women or liberal women talk about men, they're like, disgusting. But that's why they talk about us. So like, there's that. There's all sorts of stuff that, and also the sycophancy as well, which you're at fault of that as well. I'm entirely a sycophant of praising the American establishment, and that's what we're supposed to be much better than that.
I'm a sycophant for the American establishment.
Yes, you're a sycophant.
Okay. I agree that the left needs to be better in talking to young men about issues that concern them, whether it has to do with high suicide rates, high cost of living, better opportunities in the job market when it comes to trade schools, and make sure trade schools are out, whatever the issue might be. We've gotten really off track from the fact that we're trading Palestinian lives to make a point, but I'll go down this rabbit hole. How am I a sycophant for the establishment?
Well, okay, so before you were talking about, oh, these are my friends, like, we were having, I think when I was in Ireland, we were talking about, that your friends, like that you have friends in the Fed, and the Fed, and they're your friends, and etc. Just because you live in Baltimore.
I know some people who work for the federal government, but when we say Fed, like, what does that mean? It's like special agent man, or do we mean like cooks who work at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and people who work on machines?
If you know cooks, so what do you know about policies anyways? Like you're talking about like from the people in Baltimore and the DC area, which I actually lived in as well. So actually, I like Falls Road is actually one of my favorite places actually in the DMV area, which is pretty nice. Is that where you used to live at, Falls Road?
No, I didn't live at Falls Road. I lived in gorgeous Prince George's.
Prince George's County? That's not Baltimore, man.
Well, no, I don't live in Baltimore, but I know Baltimore. I just go up 30 minutes away. Go eat at cool. LP Steamers.
Yeah, look, Prince George is not that bad too. University of Maryland is pretty good. And what's that park next to there? It's like Amethyst Park. I forget what it's called, but it's a really beautiful park, though. Mm-hmm. Anyway, moving on, though. But yeah, like Baltimore is not bad. I like Maryland as well. Not the Fed.
I know people who do Fed work, and I know like mostly Feds, as in like people who work for the federal government doing bureaucratic work. And there are some people who have done more than bureaucratic work that I am familiar with, some of which I'm friends with. Yeah, what about it? How does that make me a sycophant for the federal government? Because I have friends who work for these types of organizations.
Because you're cheerleading the American empire and NATO and etc. and hanging out with NAFO people and etc. And actually, but you're not even the worst though. You know who's the worst though? It's Drew Pavlovo. This what he wrote.
You're so personality based.
Hold up. What? Like, yes, I am left-wing straight male. Yes, I love America. I love the American military. I love NATO. I love the FBI, and I love the CIA. Who else is with me? What kind of bootlicking is this? I don't even see right-wing people.
I don't know when Drew says something, if he's serious or not serious. You see him climbing up that pole on the gay stairs. It was like some rainbow stairs. And he got on the pole. He's like, I will not step on the woke stairs because we're reclaiming the left. He's like, he's a jokester, but he's also weird, but he's also a jokester. It's hard to see what he's being serious about and what not. As for me, like, me living in the DC area, being around these people, I feel like, compared to others, I have borne a better appreciation of the work that comes from being a bureaucrat. The work that comes from managing different governmental organizations, and it makes me appreciate stuff like the Pendleton Act, the 1883 Pendleton Act, which helped stop the politicization and rampant selling off of government positions and prioritizing meritocracy for these jobs. And I appreciate that because I don't want these jobs to go to people who don't know what they're doing. I don't want these jobs to be awarded for pay and the enabling of corruption, and I don't want these jobs to be just picked for political loyalty, which helps not only degrade the usefulness of the job because you're picking people based off of loyalty, not on what they're doing, but also makes it so that the person who's the chief executive can grab tighter and tighter control of institutions that I would want to be separate from them. And by being around these people who are supposed to be the barrier between that happening and, you know, just having an actual functioning bureaucracy, I've grown in appreciation. But an appreciation for the people around me's work does not become sycophancy or like cultish behavior. Because if you listen to how I talk about Jake Sullivan or Lloyd Austin or the decisions that are made at the Pentagon or the lack of ambition when it comes to lowering temporary military readiness to help our allies, or the things that I think are much more of a priority for the United States than what is currently being talked about as a priority. This isn't sycophancy. I'm openly critiquing all the time. I mean, I opened today saying, hey, we were able to do the mid-range strikes a year and a half too late, Mr. Biden, when we could have hit the air assets XYZ. But you go to the Pentagon, they'll give you 10 reasons. You go to Jake Sullivan, they'll give you 20 reasons as why it was okay to wait on this for a year and a half to 2 years to when we're only 2 months left until Trump's going to be president of the United States. I critique them all the time. So, I mean, it's not sycophancy if I'm critiquing them for the decisions that they make, just because I believe NATO as an organization should exist to stop the spreading of war in Europe.
Well, I think what you call NATO was the reason the war started in Europe to begin with. But we're not going to go into the Ukraine rabbit hole because we've done that before. So we're not going to go into the Ukraine rabbit hole.
Well, we're not going to go into that rabbit hole because you'd get lost very quick in the tunnels.
Whatever you say.
Well, it's just fucking stupid when people tell me that, because everyone acknowledges power vacuums do not breed peace and tranquility, right? And the idea that if NATO goes away, the Russians, who have been openly stating that they want to build empire, that it's part of their identity, to be Russia is to be an empire, and Vladimir Putin's writing whole essays about, like, I don't want green eggs and ham, I just want the Donbass, Sam, I am, and then I want a little bit of Dnipro, and then he's openly saying, I'm going to conquer it all because Ukraine doesn't exist unless it's an extension of Russia. This is his personal philosophy. And so if he has no opponent in Europe to check him, we're just going to assume he's just going to go home. He's not going to take advantage of the power vacuum and try to fill it up with his own supporters, with military coups, or with invasions. It's just naive. It's naive.
For thousands of years, Ukraine was in the sphere of Russian influence. They were best allies. There was nothing like that for thousands of years. So until NATO and America came and changed that, there was no problem.
That's not true. That's not. What the fuck are you talking about? Ukraine has been in part of multiple different countries in that time period. They were part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. They were their own independent country multiple times. They were part of Muscovy. They were part of, eventually part of the Russian Empire, and the rest of it was conquered by Catherine the Great. And then a Russification process was implemented to try to say, if you speak Ukrainian, if you speak Russian, you know, these things happened. And so for me, like, if your idea of Russia's from a cartoon, which I assume yours is, then yes, Ukraine's always been a part of Russia, has always been part of the Russian Empire. Ukraine's history is much more complex. It has developed its own independent identity.
Where did the Anglo-Saxons come from all this? Where does the Anglo-Saxons come from?
It's not about where the Anglo-Saxons come from. It's about what the Ukrainians
That's the problem right now. That's what the problem is right now. Where did the Anglo-Saxons come from? The Anglo-Saxons, which are the main rivals of Russia, came into Ukraine. Like, where did they come from?
What do you mean they came into Ukraine? What do you mean they came into? We explicitly did not put bases in Ukraine. We explicitly
that is the future
terrified.
Plan. That is the future
yeah,
plan.
because the Russians went in and invaded and killed everybody, and now there's no other option. You can say but what other option do the Ukrainians have but to pivot to the West if their East is dumping their people in mass graves?
Well, they wouldn't do that in the first place if they didn't ally with the West in the first place. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, really? There would be no problem.
Why did Catherine the Great invade Ukraine at all then?
You're talking about ancient history. I'm talking about right now to begin with.
Now thousands of years, the Ruski Mir brought peace and tranquility to the land. But now we're going to talk about history. Now we're going to get into nuance of why any of this actually happened. No. Let's talk about now. Okay, let's talk about now. You want to know why they invaded? Because they wanted land, they wanted resources, they wanted military bases, and it's ideological. They believe that Ukraine belongs to them. None of those elements change if America disappears tomorrow. America disappears tomorrow, you know what the Russians think? Great, no opponent. You made my job 10 times easier. They're still going to build empire. It's part of Russia's government's, like, fundamental ideology.
Like same as ours, though. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
What
what
is this pivot? Why are you pivoting away? You said that if it wasn't for NATO, the Russians would have never invaded Ukraine.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't because, like, what do you call it? They would exercise their influence like we do with Mexico, like we do with Panama, like we do.
And
with
what happens if the
whoever.
Ukrainians try to throw them out like they did at Euromaidan?
They wouldn't try to do that because they're not stupid if they don't have the
But
backing
they
of the
did
West.
try to do that. They did try. And what are you
Because
saying?
they had the backing of the West.
By the way, let me be clear.
Them, they wouldn't do that.
For what you're saying is the Ukrainians try to pursue a higher standard of living. The Ukrainians try to pursue freedom of expression, freedom of the press. The Ukrainians trying to pursue an independent judiciary. The Ukrainians trying to pursue anti-corruption, trying to get rid of the oligarchs. This is all stupid. They should have just submitted and rolled over, let the Russians come in and curb stomp them. And if they allowed them, all the rights to however many resources they have, or they allow them to charge whatever they want to for the transporting of their gas through their land. They should have just done that because Russia's big and Russia's powerful. You have such a colonial mindset.
No, all right. Like, if I would say so, like, this is what I would say. If Ukrainians were smarter, right, they would play both sides. They would play the West and the East against one another. They would come up on top of the bridge.
They tried to do that. The Russians wouldn't play ball. Why did Euromaidan happen?
Because they wouldn't let them go join the EU. Joining EU is not playing both sides.
You're actually retarded. I can't speak to you. I'm going to let you sit here for a minute. And in this minute, think about what you just said. Think about why it's stupid. And I'll give you a minute, okay? I'm going to go piss. Just think it through. Think about what you just Google. Use Google.
When you come
Google.
back,
Why
Euromaidan happened?
Look it up.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Ridiculous. He's gone. Yeah, well, no, look, you gotta check out my Twitter at IPSC Solidarity. So yeah, we do a lot of stuff. We sell Palestinian art and yeah, and try to get Project Exodus started. If you're a lefty and not part of the crazy left and etc., you're welcome to join.
So, did you Google it? Did you figure out what happened?
Let's talk about something else, man. Let's talk about something.
Did you Google it?
Did you Google it? Google it.
Okay.
Wait. Can we talk about something else, man? Can we talk about something else?
No, I don't want to talk about something else. We need to get past this. What? Because for me...
We did on Ukraine already. 2 videos already we did on Ukraine, man.
I don't care. You brought it up. You brought it up. You said...
No, you brought it up, man. Yeah,
No. You brought it up. You said you brought it up. You did like a drive-by. You said... If it wasn't for NATO, they wouldn't have invaded. But I don't want to talk about Zelensky. No, you can't just do that shit on my channel. You know you can't do that stuff on my channel. This is like my issue.
It's settled.
The reason Euromaidan happened,
I got you.
If you don't know,
all right,
just quickly throw it out there, is because Yanukovych wanted to enter an association agreement, which was a deal with the EU, which was not membership, but it would allow visa-free travel and some beneficial trade benefits. Yanukovych being the pro-Russian leader of the country. He promised 2 years ago in 2012 when running for office he was going to do it. Putin then doesn't like this idea. He doesn't like them developing ties with the European Union to begin with. This playing of the West and the East against each other. That's what Yanukovych was kind of trying to do. Have good deals with the European Union while still trying to be part and some parcel of the Eurasian Economic Community. Putin responded by cutting off trade, getting aggressive. Yanukovych pulled out. The people did not like that submission, and Euromaidan happened. The rest is history. If Ukraine's still not part of the European Union, I mean, it was supposed to be a midway compromise, and they wouldn't even allow that.
All right, gotcha. So, moving on. Any other questions about outside of Ukraine do you have?
No, man.
All right. So before I go, I just want to say, listen, don't believe in the establishment to anybody, whether you are right or left. Don't believe in Trump. Don't edify him. Don't believe in what's the name, Elon Musk as well. or in the left as well, don't edify the establishment. We need to have our own agency, whether you are right or left. We need to have our own agency. Yeah, and the power structure should not just be on the establishment, and we're not supposed to just be cheerleaders, especially on the left. We're not just supposed to be cheerleaders and bootlickers for the establishment. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, can you give me one of those loaner box flyers?
I'll send you one of them.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And to ask him as well, like, you know, he was talking about the accidents of sniping children. That, you know, like, you know, they're just basically like, you know, the IDF was so bad at sniping. You know, they've just been lucky at sniping that they've been hitting like children in the forehead like multiple times. So, you know, like, you know, he's saying, oh, you know, like, you know, fast moving targets, you know, so war zone. And, you know, every time they shoot, you know, goes through the wall and then automatically hits a guy, a kid in the temple. So, you know, ask him about that too next time you see him. You know, he keeps defending that and not going against that. So
wait, loaner box is defending like just a random sniping of children?
Yeah, like a Bat and Empanada made a video about that. That, you know, he's saying that,
you know, if there's any good source on credible allegations against other people, it's Bat and Empanada.
He makes good video essays,
No,
and there's a. Okay, fine. But anyway, there's videos of Roland Box saying, defending the, you know, the doctors, the American doctors that went to Israel and then or Palestine, and they were talking about, oh, we've seen dead kids with double tap, sometimes in the chest and the forehead. And you were saying, oh, don't you guys know how snipers work? You know, it's like it's you know, in war zone, you know, everything is fast moving. Yes, everything is fast moving. You wouldn't be like, you know, hit him center from the in the head, like, you know, like a center mass, like, you know, right in the fucking head. You wouldn't like bullseye them. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like that is quite the fucking accident. That is quite the, like, you know, lucky shot you have. As every fucking time you shoot, it goes through a wall and it goes through over here, and then you hit a kid.
Is this like about a specific incident, or is this just about like generally like the sniper?
No, the doctor said they've been seeing multiple doctors. I think 40 something doctors came out and said, we have seen multiple cases of sniper shots of children.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no fucking way to defend that. And yeah, and Israel's lawyer, which is Loner Box, needs to stop doing that as well. And there's even a video of them. Like, I think Noah Samson did a good video. I would also recommend people to watch Noah Samson if they want to watch anything about Palestine as well. He does pretty good videos as well. That he did a video about showing live footage of this kid getting hit by a rocket in northern Gaza. And then, you know, and then he's sitting there, you know, he's asking for help. You know, he's hitting like shrapnels. Other people come to try to help him, and then they were double tapped 2 times or 3 times, and then other people were killed in the vicinity area too. So what the fuck is that about? So listen, there is no fucking excuse. Nobody can deny what Israel is doing right now. Right? They've been saying it. We like to kill these people. You know, we like to ethnically cleanse these people. We are happy these people are there to kill the women and children. Multiple, these statements are out there in the fucking internet, man. Multiple statements, not just by the government, by the soldiers, by the people, a lot of stuff. Like, there's full of hate, all right? And their action also speaks louder than words as well. So if you're trying to fucking defend this, fuck you, and you're a fucking paid shill. That's what I have to say to Loner Box about it. Anyway, that's it. See you guys. Peace.
Bye-bye. You know, guys, I remain unconvinced of the importance of pointing out Democrat hypocrisy through the election of Trump. I remain unconvinced, and certainly unconvinced that he just doesn't care about personality, because that was all personality till the end. Even the ending sentence wasn't even about the issue we were discussing. It was about Loner Box. And, like, just talk about the snipers. Just talk about the sniper thing. Like that. See, like, I was...
is a curd.
Why, whatever.
Is that a unibrow or a shadow?
Shut up.